Here are the top stories of the news. Suspected ISWAP members abduct 2 security guards and 3 FHI 360 humanitarian workers in Borno. Enugu State Police Command confirms the death of missing governorship aspirant Dons Ude. On the foreign scene, U.S. President Joe Biden and South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol pledge to strengthen deterrence against North Korea. Good afternoon and welcome to Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. My name is Damilola Raphael. We begin with security, where suspected members of the Islamic State of the West African province, ISWAP, have reportedly abducted 2 security guards and 3 humanitarian workers of the Family Health International FHI 360 in Borno State. FHI 360 is a U.S.-based non-profit human development and non-governmental organization dedicated to improving the health and well-being of the people. It was gathered that the 3 male workers were missing from the guest house where they live in Gala, a border town at the fringes of Lake Chad. Although it is suspected they were abducted by terrorists, the military and police authorities are yet to react to the incident. In the meantime, the Police Service Commission, PSC, has dismissed 3 assistant superintendents of police and demoted 5 others. The commission also approves the punishment of severe reprimand to an assistant commissioner of police, a chief superintendent of police, 4 superintendents, 2 deputy superintendents, and 12 assistant superintendents. This was disclosed in a statement by the commission spokesman Ikechukwu Ani yesterday. He said these were high points of the 20th plenary meeting of the commission held on Wednesday at the corporate headquarters of the commission in Abuja. The commission also approved punishment of 6 officers, 1 superintendent and 5 assistant superintendents, with the plenary also approving the promotion of 109 senior staff of the commission. Staying with security, the Enugu State Police Command has confirmed the death of a governorship aspirant of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA, Dons Ude. It was earlier reported that Mr. Ude, who went missing since Saturday, was found lying lifeless at the 9th Mile bypass in Udi local government area. The spokesperson of the command, Daniel Ndukwe, in a statement released yesterday night, said the lifeless and decomposing body of the deceased was found in a bush around the 9th Mile area on Tuesday. According to Mr. Ndukwe, the aspirant's body had marks of violence, which strongly suggests that he was murdered. He noted that the State Police Commissioner has ordered the homicide section of the State Command to fish out and bring the perpetrators of the heinous crime to justice. To politics. The President-elect, Senator Bola Tinubu, yesterday met with the National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, at the Defense House in Abuja. In attendance at the meeting, which was held behind closed doors, were the President of the Senate, Senator Ahmed Lawan, the Deputy Senate President, Senator Ovie Omoagege, amongst other ranking members of the ruling party. At the end of the meeting, the APC National Chairman said the meeting is a routine exercise. He declined to disclose issues discussed at the meeting. The meeting comes barely 2 days after Tinubu's return to the country after over 1 month away in Europe. The President-elect is due to be inaugurated as President Muhammadu Buhari's successor on May 29. In the meantime, the 2023 Ebonyi State Elections Petitions Tribunal holding in Abakaliki, the state capital, has moved to Abuja. The secretary of the tribunal, Inyel Sekula, made this known in a statement yesterday issued to journalists in Abakaliki. The information indicated that the president of the Court of Appeal, Monica Dongban Mansem, directed the tribunal to relocate to Abuja immediately. Following this development, Sekula said the state tribunal office will remain closed from April 26, 2023 while all petitions will be attended to at the tribunal office in Abuja. And staying with legal matters, the Federal High Court in Abuja has dismissed the suit filed by Aisha Binani Dahiru, seeking to be affirmed as the winner of the Adamawa State governorship election. Justice Inyang Eko dismissed the suit at the court session yesterday following a notice of discontinuance filed by the All Progressives Congress candidate through her lawyer, Mohammed Sharif. Binani's counsel had asked the court to strike out the suit. However, the judge held that the lawyer failed to address the court on the issue of jurisdiction as ordered on April 18th. Consequently, Justice Eko said the appropriate order would be to dismiss the suit. In Rivers State, Nigeria's president-elect Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is scheduled to inaugurate the Rumuola-Rumuokuta flyover and magistrates court building in Port Harcourt, the state capital, on May 3 and 4, 2023. The 1,007.5 meters Rumuola-Rumuokuta flyover, which connects Rumuola Road to Ikwere Road, is the 12th flyover built by the River State Governor Nyesom Ezenwo Wike administration since 2019. Governor Wike made this known during an inspection tour of the flyover and court building in Port Harcourt yesterday, disclosing that the president-elect will pay a 2-day visit to the state next week. Governor Wike explained that the president-elect was told when he came to campaign in the state that he would be invited to commission some of the landmark projects of his administration. And moving on, the Ogun State government has placed residents of some areas along the river course in the state on alert as a result of expected flash floods due to heavy rainfall predicted for the state by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency. The State Commissioner for Environment, Ola Sonya, stated this while giving the outlook predictions for the 2023 flood alert for the state. While assuring the state that the state government is doing its best by putting plans in place to minimize the impact of the predicted downpour, Mr. Sonya sought the cooperation and understanding of residents of the area. As predicted by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, Ogun State is expected to have 2 seasons of rainfall for the year 2023, first between April and July, with average 1,658 millimeter, while the second is expected between September and November, with 1,988 millimeters of rainfall. In a rather sad development, over 150 shops have been gutted by fire at the popular Young Katako market in Sabongari, Zaria area of Kaduna State. According to an anonymous source, the fire started at about 1 a.m. yesterday and continued till the afternoon. The chief security officer of the market, Hamisu Buhari, confirmed the incident, disclosing that the fire began when the Kaduna Electricity Distribution Company restored power and an electric pole fell on the roof of one of the shops. He added that efforts to attract fire service agencies within the area proved abortive. When contacted, the head of corporate affairs, KEDCO, Abdulaziz Abdullahi, confirmed the fire incident but denied that the electric spark caused it. Elsewhere, the federal government has said that it's procured 40 buses for the evacuation of Nigerians trapped in war in Sudan. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Yama, disclosed this yesterday, stating that the buses cost the government $1.2 million. Mr. Yama, at a media briefing after the Federal Executive Council meeting, stated that the government will evacuate citizens in days amid the 72-hour ceasefire in Sudan. He said during the evacuation, priority will not be accorded any diplomat, adding that the government will prioritize women and children. The comments by the ministers comes a few hours after the first batch of buses for the evacuation of Nigerian students from Sudan arrived as the pickup point.
The 1.2 million is what we're being charged for the buses to the board. To have 40 huge transported luxury buses made available to us to transport to the Egyptian border. Of course, because of the risks involved and so many other things, a lot of people are going to also take advantage. They're going to hike up the price. We saw that the French convoy was attacked and so forth. So it was difficult procuring these buses, but we had to do it because Nigerian life.
You're watching Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. We will be right back after this break.
Dramatist, playwright, and icon of Yoruba thematic arts, Duro Ladipo was born December 18, 1931 in Osogbo, southwest Nigeria. His clergyman father christened him Timothy. His other names, Duro Dola, Duro Shomo, Duro Rike, reflected his persona and the circumstances that surrounded his birth. The legendary stage actor had in several public fora identified himself as one of the greatest abikus born to die in this world. Family records reveal how he was born and died 13 times. The intertwining names he bore thus lent credence to his spiritism. Duro Ladipo was one of the best known and world-acclaimed Yoruba dramatists to emerge from post-colonial Africa. His notable works, Obakoso, Obawaja, and Moremi, took him beyond Africa to several parts of the world. By the time Duro Ladipo died on 11 March 1978, Nigeria's first cultural ambassador had acquired a towering image as an artist whose works adorned the frontage of Trenchard Hall, University of Ibadan. Western Spring Television identifies Duro Ladipo as a major character in history.
Welcome back. We're serving more reports now. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has asked the Federal High Court in Lagos to dismiss an application filed by the former Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Lagos State, Shupo Shashore, challenging the jurisdiction of the court to try him on allegations of money laundering. The EFCC also said that the defendant merely wishes to delay the proceedings, and it would not be in the interest of justice to grant his application challenging the court's jurisdiction. These submissions were contained in the Commission's response to the application of the defendant filed and served on February 17th. Justice Chikujeku Aneke, however, ruled that the EFCC's counter affidavit was not ripe for hearing, as the defendant had only been served last week Thursday and subsequently adjourned to June 26 for the hearing. Mr. Shashore was arraigned by the EFCC on October 29, 2022 on a 4-count charge bordering on money laundering to the tune of $100,000. In other news, the National Examinations Council, NECO, has rescheduled the 2023 National Common Entrance Examinations to Saturday, the 3rd of June. In a statement, NECO's spokesman, Aziz Sani, announced the rescheduling of the examination, blaming the decision on low registration rate. The examination, which admits candidates into the federal unity colleges across the federation, was earlier scheduled for Saturday, April 29th. According to Mr. Sani, states with low registration will be given the opportunity to register their candidates for the examination. He urged all candidates, parents, guardians, schools, and relevant stakeholders to take note of a new date for the examination, while stating that the registration of more candidates will continue till the new date of the examination. And talking business, the Minister of Aviation, Senator Hadi Sirika, has insisted but Nigeria will fly before the tenure of President Muhammadu Buhari ends. He made this known while fielding questions from the State House reporters after the weekly Federal Executive Council meeting at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, yesterday. He noted that everything is in place from the aircraft to the offices, operational centers, as well as staffing are all in place. He stated that last-minute checks are being done and all that remains is the issuance of the AOC and it will fly. Mr. Siriga further disclosed that the carrier will fly for the benefit of this country, adding that it is a very important project. And outside Nigeria, Argentina will start to pay for Chinese imports in yuan rather than dollars, a measure that aims to relieve the country's dwindling dollar reserves. According to government officials, in April, Buenos Aires aims to pay around $1 billion of Chinese imports in yuan instead of the dollars, and thereafter around $790 million of monthly imports will be paid in yuan. Argentina's economy minister, Sergio Massa, stated this during an event following a meeting with the Chinese ambassador, Zhou Xiaoli, noting that the decision aims to ease the outflow of dollars. The decision comes as the South American nation battles critical levels in its dollar reserves amid a sharp drop in agricultural exports caused by a historic drought as well as political uncertainty ahead of elections next year. In the United States, the House of Representatives yesterday narrowly passed the bill to raise the government's $31.4 trillion debt ceiling. That includes sweeping spending cuts over the next decades. The bill isn't expected to pass the Senate, and President Joe Biden would veto it if it did, but the mostly partisan 217 to 215 vote represents a win for Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy on an issue that rattled investors and markets. Mr. McCarthy hopes to lure President Biden into negotiations on cutting spending, even as the White House and congressional Democrats insist on the debt limit increase with no strings attached. The U.S. Treasury Department could run out of ways to pay its bills in a matter of weeks if Congress fails to act, and financial markets are already flashing warning signs.
The sad part here is now the Democrats need to do their job. The president can no longer ignore by not negotiating. Senator Schumer, if he thinks he's got a plan, put it on the floor. See if you can pass it, and then we can go to conference. But now, the president can no longer put this economy in jeopardy. We lifted the debt limit. We've sent it to the Senate. We've done our job, the only body in here that's done theirs.
Meanwhile, United States President Joe Biden and South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol have pledged to strengthen deterrence against North Korea, including sending nuclear-armed U.S. submarines and other military assets to Seoul. Mr. Biden and Mr. Yoon made the vow in a joint news conference following their meeting in Washington, D.C. to mark the two countries' 7-year alliance. Mr. Yoon said the new deterrence agreement, dubbed the Washington Declaration, represented an unprecedented expansion and strengthening of the bilateral strategy. Meanwhile, President Biden defended his decision to run for re-election in 2024 despite his age, stating that he has never been this optimistic of the chance of the United States.
I feel good. I feel excited about the prospects, and I think we're on the verge of really turning the corner in a way we haven't in a long time. I know you're tired of hearing me say we're at an inflection point, but we really are. What happens in the next 2, 3, 4 years is going to determine what the next 3, 4 decades look like. And I have never been more optimistic in my life about the possibilities of the United States. And the question is whether or not, look, there's more to finish the job. We have an opportunity to put ourselves in a position where we are economically and politically secure for a long time. Look, we continue to have, and now you don't like to hear me saying it, there's still a contest between autocracies and democracies. And we're the leading democracy in the world. And it's something I know a fair amount about, something I care about, and something that I have found a willingness us an awful lot of our allies and friends to follow. So I think that, we have to finish the job.
Still in the U.S., federal prosecutors in the U.S. say Jack Teixeira, the airman charged with leaking secret defense information, may still have access to classified materials. Prosecutors are requesting that he remains in jail while awaiting trial as he poses a serious flight risk. Mr. Teixeira, aged 21 years old, who worked as an IT specialist at the 102nd Intelligence Support Squadron in Massachusetts, is due to appear at a detention hearing later today. Investigators are still working to determine how Mr. Teixeira allegedly leaked more than 100 pages of classified documents that included sensitive information about U.S. allies and the war in Ukraine. In court documents filed yesterday, prosecutors argued that Mr. Teixeira poses an ongoing risk both to the national security of the U.S. and to the community. In Africa, Sudan's army and a paramilitary force continue to battle on the outskirts of the capital, Khartoum, undermining a truce, but the army has expressed a willingness to extend the ceasefire. Army Chief General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan gave initial approval to extend the truce for another 72 hours and sent an envoy to South Sudan's capital, Juba, for talks. Some of the West battles were in Omdurman, a city adjoining Khartoum, while the army is fighting Rapid Support Forces RSF reinforcements from other regions of Sudan. Meanwhile, the UK Foreign Secretary James Cleverly says London will not offer coaches to help evacuees get to the airbase in Sudan, noting that a small number of attempted convoys had come under attack.
That's 536. And the reason I'm saying I'm giving that figure from late last night is there are planes in the air with British nationals on them. There are British nationals in Khartoum who are under the umbrella of protection of the British Armed Forces. And rather than giving a kind of drip feed, I think it's better to tell you what we know to be accurate, give periodic updates, but we are seeing a steady flow of British nationals and a few others, nationals of other countries being evacuated through the airhead that we're facilitating through the airbase at Wadi Sidna.
And to some sports stories, Pep Guardiola says his Manchester City side have proved they can deliver when there is no option but to win after beating Arsenal to put the Premier League title race in their hands. Guardiola's team beat leaders Arsenal 4-1 at Etihad Stadium and are now 2 points behind with 2 games in hand. Guardiola, speaking after the game, said his side cannot afford to lose their focus, adding that the title is now in their hands. City have 7 matches left, starting with Sunday's trip to Fulham before home games against West Ham and Leeds. City still remain on course for a treble of the Premier League, Champions League and an FA Cup.
Our destiny is in our hands. So today winning Arsenal will be in their hands and now it's in our hands. And when you arrive at the end of the season, when whatever happened, it doesn't matter. It's our performance. To win the games, it depends on us. I give credit, incredible credit to what they have done. I prefer to think maybe they didn't have in their best level because we were really, really good.
And staying with the Premier League, out-of-form Chelsea lost their 5th successive game since the return of Frank Lampard as Brentford won at Stamford Bridge to strengthen their position in the Premier League's top 10. The visitors did not have a shot on target in the first half, but took the lead midway through when Matthias Jorgensen's flick from a corner hit Cesar Azpilicueta on his shoulder to deflect into the back of the net. Chelsea once again struggled to create chances, and a hugely disappointing first half ended with boos from some of the home supporters. Brentford wrapped up a hugely impressive win late on when Brian Belmo cut into the box before smashing the shot into the back of the net. The defeat leaves Chelsea in the bottom half of the table as they sit 11th, 6 points behind Fulham in 10th and 8 behind Brentford, who move up to 9th. And before we end the news, here is a recap of our top stories. Suspected members of the Islamic State of the West African province, ISWAP, have reportedly abducted 2 security guards and 3 humanitarian workers of the Family Health International FHI 360 in Borno State. The Enugu State Police Command has confirmed the death of a governorship aspirant of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA, Dance Ude. And on the foreign scene, we brought you news that United States President Joe Biden and South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol have pledged to strengthen deterrence against North Korea. You can follow us on our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Western Spring Television. You can also watch us live on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. That ends Spring News at 12. I'm Damilola Raphael. Thanks for watching. Do have a good afternoon.